Speaking of Saturday night, the Geelong-Richmond game was as good a game of football as we have seen in a long, long time. It was finals footy in July. It was June. It was magnificent. It had everything, Auto.
It did. It was just a thrill to be there, Hutchie. I thought the first quarter and a half was the best football I've seen of any side, and that was played by Geelong. And then Richmond's ability to fight back in the game, open up Geelong and test out that strong defence they've got. I thought how far Richmond, when they got out to 17 points, Kane, and then Geelong found a way. And I thought throwing Jeremy Cameron into the centre bounce changed things. It's something I've never seen
So
before.
You've been tentative on Geelong this year. Has what you've seen now, are you believing now that they can win it?
I'm just so big in on Melbourne. So I think that it's going to take someone to beat Melbourne. But I think, of all the chances, they'd be in the best 3 or 4.
Dusty had a good first half, I'd say, but you've still got some concerns about where he sits.
Yeah, he's okay, Hutchie. You put this on the agenda before anyone did, and the potential move to Sydney. I just feel like if he is exploring that, now's a really good time for Richmond to let him leave with their blessing. I just don't think he's impacting games like he has. And when you get to the age of 31, which Dustin just turned, you've got to be all in, both physically and mentally. We've seen it with Dangerfield this year. No longer can you just rely on your athleticism and your skill. You've got to be there. You've got to be training. Look at what Travis Boak does, what Pendlebury does. So if you can get 1.2 off your books, I know he's a legend, he's a great at the game and everything he's done, but if he's thinking for 1 minute about leaving, I'm helping him get to that destination.
I hate the way you...
Why?
You're so cavalier with football culture.
You've just said St Kilda aren't hard enough. You've said they need to harden up as a footy club.
You don't think...
That is a hard decision for
Richmond,
a club to make.
Richmond have been very hard and very tough.
If he wants to go, if he's thinking about it and if he's not all in, now is the time to do it because he's never going to be worth more than what he's worth right now.
St Kilda doesn't have a Dustin Martin. They could look at trading. They never would have considered doing that with Nick Riewoldt. And I just think the damage it causes your culture...
Well, it didn't hurt Geelong. It didn't hurt Hawthorn when Ablett and Franklin left.
Gary Ablett made the wrong decision to go to the Gold Coast. And
it didn't hurt Geelong, though.
No, it hurt Gary Ablett, though.
Yeah, but if Dustin
and they would have been happy for him to stay.
That's not Richmond's fault if it hurts Dustin Martin. That's the best decision for the club. So if he is at all thinking about it, now is the time to explore.
I'm never going to agree with that.
He's reached the top of the mountain. It's just what he wants to do, really. I think that's what Dusty... Because, as I said, I know he's missed a lot of football. I didn't see a Dustin Martin that looked like he was going to change the game on the weekend. I hope that comes back for him, and that's got to be between his ears how much he wants it.
Is he the best use of Sydney's money?
Well, that's the decision.
They've got a raft of kids coming through.
That's Kane. You can't be paying Dustin if you're Sydney $1.2 million. You'd be asking for Richmond to pay some of it.
So Caro's disagreeing. So you disagree?
I don't think it's good for Dustin. I don't think it's good for Richmond. And by the way, I don't think it's good for Sydney. You ask Matthew time and time again. He could have gone on. He could have gone to another club. He wasn't happy at Essendon anymore.
I'm not talking about Sydney. I'm talking about, is it the best thing for Richmond to do?
It's best for Richmond to keep Dustin Martin. He's building. He could end the season on a high. And if he doesn't, and if he's not good enough, he's not going to command the money next year anyway.
The Cats were front foot on Tom Stewart. They knew they had a problem. Tom Stewart knew there was a problem. It was a masterclass in media from Chris Scott in the press conference. There was a line when he talked about the suspension that caught our ear. Let's take a listen to Chris Scott's different take on how a suspension should be served.
And the idea of sending someone off and getting it wrong in a big game is a risk not worth taking. This is a crazy idea and I shouldn't bring it up. But Richmond are the one that have suffered the penalty. North Melbourne shouldn't get the benefit next week.
Leopard once said that you should miss it against that team when you're playing next.
Yeah, that's sort of my version of restorative justice. Like, right. The victim should actually be restored in some sort of way.
In a final, Chris, in a home and away game. I remember doing this story with Justin Lepich when he was coaching Brisbane. It's a great idea. It's not going to happen. And it might have been a PR masterclass, but the sight of Dion Prestia on the ground and the way he looked was not good for football, and it wouldn't encourage people who didn't like footy to allow their kids to play. It should never have happened.